Mick mentioned there earlier on about that you've never heard of a trade union leader with so many poems, plays, songs, and I could stand here and read out a poem and sing a song that people know I generally sing when I have a few pints in me, and it would tell you the story of 1913, because it's not a terribly complicated or probably for most of you here not a very unfamiliar story, but shockingly I find when I do these courses with Unite, we try to put a bit of history into shop stewards courses, you know, just in terms of the general discussions that we have with them. And workers in Dublin and around the country in their 20s and early 30s, the vast majority of them, when you start this discussion, haven't a clue who he was or what the lockout was. It's amazing, actually. I'd be quite taken aback by it. I know when we grew up, we did a section on our history about the lockout and about 1913. But more importantly, there was a tradition around your family, the pub, you know, singing ballads with your mates, that you learned and knew about what had happened and what it was all about through the sort of cultural stuff rather than any formal academic education. But it's quite shocking the amount of workers who have no idea about their tradition and where their union came from, and the fight that was put up in Dublin in order to establish the right to join a trade union, and that really happened in 1913. I think it's important to put it in a context. Dublin in 1913 was a teeming, poverty-ridden, smelly, very run-down city, teeming with tenements that not only were they unfit for human habitation, but they could never be made fit for human habitation. Regularly they collapsed, and you know, there's the famous case in Church Street of a building falling down and several children being killed, and all of the hoity-toity respectable liberals of Dublin were quite shocked by this, and there was collections made for the families and all the rest of it. But it was continuous that landlords constantly broke any regulations. There weren't any regulations. 100,000 people, that's about between a quarter and one third of the population of Dublin lived in this kind of squalor. Most of the families would live in one room. There was running water, but absolutely no sanitation. There's descriptions in some of the stuff I was reading of people who visited the city and talked about the awful stench, how smelly it was, because there was no proper sewage system running throughout the city. And the city was the poor